Sirius XM Stars.
Hello, everyone. It's Seth Rudetsky. It is Sirius XM Stars. Seth Speaks. Here's my little introduction. This week on Seth Speaks, we have a bonus recording and Broadway star, Mr. Nick Jonas. What? Still
like
got
that.
it.
I love that.
Hi, Nick.
How are you today?
It's all good in the hood. Okay, let's go back. So, I know you're doing How to Succeed right now, and people are like making your Broadway debut. It is not your Broadway debut. Does this sound familiar? Thank you.
Yes,
He's
it does.
nodding, radio audience. So, talk about Les Miserables. When did you first get the gig?
Well, wow, this goes back a long time ago. Basically, Les Mis was the first show I ever auditioned for. As a young boy, I was 7. I auditioned for the national tour of Les Mis, and I actually got the role. And
what was your audition
as
song?
Gavroche. My audition song was "Where Is Love" from Oliver.
That's every boy's audition song. So my question is this: why do girls get the amazing "Tomorrow"? They get to Belle, but boys have to be like, "Where?"
It is. It's like a breathy, kind of odd.
So boring.
It's a strange one. I used to do these hand motions with it too, though. That gave it some extra oomph.
But that's because you were a pageant kid. What?
Yes.
Wait, so keep going.
Exactly. So I got the role, but my mom was actually pregnant at the time, and with my little brother, who's 11 now. But we could not do it because she was pregnant, and so
Wait, so you got it and then turned it down?
I had to turn it down. Yes.
How much crying was there from you?
You know, I completely understood. I understood because it was the family, and if it was here on Broadway, it would have been fine. But it was just because it was touring. But then about a week and a half later, I auditioned for A Christmas Carol, and I got that.
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I got that and did that. For I think it was 5 months or however
Who's your
long.
Scrooge?
Frank Langella, which was
Scary Dracula.
exactly. I ran into him. Maybe it was 2 or 3 years ago when he was up for Frost and Nixon, and I ran into him at the Golden Globes, and I didn't expect him to remember me or to be aware or anything, and so I just went up and sort of on a limb I just said, hey, my name is Nick. We worked together a long time ago when I was much younger in A Christmas Carol, and he stopped and gave me a hug and said, how are you? In this real soft, sweet voice, and it was kind of a cool reunion. He remembered and
Were you Tiny
was
Tim?
aware. I was Scrooge at 8, so I was him at age 8, but then that was my character's name, Scrooge at 8.
So specific, so age-wise.
Exactly. And then I was the understudy for Tiny Tim, and the show had been running for 8 years prior, every Christmas for 8 years, and they never had an understudy go on for Tiny Tim because they were always healthy, and so they never did rehearsals, which was a really
So
smart move.
typical. Go on. I know where this is going. It sounds terrifying.
Exactly. And so then, of course, kid gets sick, and they call and they say, we need Nick to come in for a rehearsal. He's on for Tiny Tim.
Oh my God. And you're like, where is love? Did you know the music at all?
Exactly. So basically, I do this quick rehearsal, and I get up, and this was one of the only moments I've ever had stage fright. But basically, the conductor starts the bit of music, and I'm there. I know what I'm supposed to be singing, and I just went blank.
Oh my God.
And I just completely lost it. And for 16 bars of music, it was just silence. And I was really afraid of the conductor for some reason. However, I've heard recently that he's actually a really nice guy.
What's his name?
I'm blanking at this moment on his name.
Okay, tell me later. I'll tell you if he's nice or not. Keep going.
Yeah. But then basically that was sort of the moment when I said, all right, that's never going to happen again, where I have stage fright, and it hasn't happened since.
You can talk yourself out of stage fright?
You just have to make the commitment to it. I mean, I've had flubs and things on stage plenty of times.
But never 16 bars of flubbing.
But never 16 bars, and never, have it where I was actually afraid of what was happening.
Were your brothers in the audience, and how much laughing?
I don't remember if they were or not. And I don't know that it would have mattered. I think I'm harder on myself than anyone else will ever be.
Such a young pro. Now, Christmas Carol, the nightmare about that show, a normal Broadway show is 8 shows a week. What was Christmas Carol's schedule?
I think it's 12.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
It was like being in Oliver's workhouse in actual real life, a boy's workhouse. So you did Christmas Carol with Frank Langella, and you're 8 years old. I love when 8-year-olds get their equity cards, and I literally had to wait till I was 70 to get mine. Anyway, so that's fair. So then after that, when did you get to Broadway?
At the Broadway, I did Annie Get Your Gun with Reba McEntire.
Wait, that was an amazing one. Reba was so good in that.
She was amazing.
Did you learn anything from watching her perform?
Oh, yeah.
Like what? How to have a southern twang?
Exactly. Well, she turned the final outfit. I don't know if anyone was aware of this, but the final outfit of the show, which is usually brown, sort of, whole cowboy getup, cowgirl, excuse me. But she turned it white because that was her thing at her concerts. Is that she always wore white at the end of her shows.
Signature outfit.
And so she had a signature Reba McEntire, white outfit. Not that as Finch, I have a white outfit.
I was gonna say, do you have your signature outfit?
No, I don't have it. I've got a green bow tie, so that's signature for me.
It is? Why the Jonas Brothers always have green bow ties?
No, just me as Finch. Each Finch had their own. So Daniel was blue, Darren was purple, and I'm now green.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know they each have their own color. Brava.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me for 1 second. So you never actually did get to play Gavroche, or you did?
No, I did play Gavroche later on, a few years later. So then I did Beauty and the Beast for about a year.
Who were you in Beauty and the Beast? Chip?
I was Chip, the teacup.
Okay, now, this is the annoying thing. Because, Chip has that amazing illusion where it looks like his head is cut off from his body, whatever that thing is. Didn't you have to sign something saying you're never going to... What did you sign?
I did. I signed a non-disclosure, basically. I couldn't tell what...
You can't tell how the illusion was done?
Yeah, I can't tell you. I still can't.
You're 40 years old? You still can't admit it?
40 years old. Exactly. I'm going to be old and gray and be like, one day, I'll be able to tell.
I can't believe it. Now, did you ever hear any horror stories about anyone who revealed it?
I mean, there were rumors.
There's one about a belle. There's one about a belle that got the role, and her opening night, her family came backstage and she told the story, and she was fired on the spot. That's what they tell people to scare them. Did they tell you that?
No, they didn't tell me that. They just said that, one of the kids once said to a friend, yeah, this is how it works, and then he was let go. So I think it was always like, yeah, and then they were let go. That was kind of the threat. But, I mean, it's amazing. The illusion they did was pretty incredible. I'd want to keep it, on the DL if I could as well.
Didn't you have to have a phrase that people asked you what it was?
Yeah, it's Disney magic.
Disney magic. Isn't that sweet and corporate? Okay, so Beauty and the Beast. Any mishaps during Beauty and the Beast you need to know about? Did anyone's wig ever fall off?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, I'm in this cart.
Yes.
Even though it's only my head that's shown, my full body is somewhere.
So
nearby.
They didn't cut your head off. Okay, so already you revealed too much. Keep going.
But I'm in the cart, and basically one of the dancers was doing a big spin kick, and their foot hit the cart, and it just started to roll. And it rolled basically to the very edge of the stage and nearly went into the pit.
And you don't have any hands to stop it because you're in the car.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I mean, so sad.
The conductor put his hand up and had to stop the wheels from rolling off.
Wait, and then what did your head look like to the audience? They see you just screaming?
I was probably looking like a crazy person, but Mrs. Potts came quickly and grabbed me, and it was all good.
That is terrifying. Because, I know one of those Mrs. Potts once, she once fell, and it was the same thing. Because
she couldn't get up.
Yeah, she can't get up because she's just a big pot rolling around. She doesn't have any hand traction. That whole show is prone for injuries, Nick.
It is. Well, that show is, and then Les Mis. So then this is getting to Les Mis. Good segue. So then I did Les Mis as part of the final Broadway cast. And that was an amazing thing to be a part of. And I was on the final night as well.
Wow.
But, that show is one where you're on that barricade and you're running around. And it was funny, doing it as a kid, it all looks so massive. And then 2010, I guess, I went and did it in London at the West End and played Marius.
Wait a minute, Nick Jonas, is your cell phone ringing right now as you're speaking? No. Someone else's is? Iris Rainer Dart?
No, sir.
Okay, no one's acknowledging it. Okay, is one of the Jonas Brothers sabotaging this because you're mad you don't know how to succeed? Not cool. So continue. You were Marius in London.
So yeah, then when I was as a kid, it looked massive and it was all so huge. And then I went to London. I was like, oh, this is not nearly as big as I thought. I could run a bit more in this thing and make it a bit more dramatic.
Oh, God, what a setup for disaster. Go on.
So it's the part of the show, and it's where I'm meant to be saying, I will go into the streets, there are bodies all around. Basically saying, I'm going to go into the streets, grab all the bullets, and save the day. Mm-hmm. And so I start to run up the barricade, and I fall directly into it. And there's two guys who drive the barricades. I fall into the barricade.
Does that big of a hole?
Well, another
you're size zero.
Just my head.
Beauty and the Beast style?
Beauty and the Beast style, in the barricade, and I'm looking at Angelos, and I'm saying, you know what? No, you just go. You take care of it.
Wait a minute. How far is that drop?
It wasn't that bad. It was probably 4 or 5 feet. So just enough to just get my head. But
did you get injured? The show must go on?
No, I had a little scratch on my back, but it was nothing.
Nick Jonas, you're a fool.